I am Pam Spettle. I'm with 101 Mile Kitchen, and I'm here in Oregon's southern Willamette Valley. I have come home today from the Lane County Farmers Market, where I picked up not only a bunch of really beautiful ingredients, but I also picked up some new knowledge. I have the farmers market does a couple of times a month some food demonstrations that, hi Salads and Seasons, hi Carmen Winstone, hi, nice to see you all. I picked up some knowledge. We do some demonstrations, some local chefs do some food demonstrations and teach some things that they know using ingredients from the farmers market. And today we had a local chef named Alex Dakers is his name. He has a food truck called Nikkei, and he shared with us how to make a ceviche, a Nikkei style ceviche made with the albacore tuna that comes off the boat called the Brandywine. I bought the fish today straight from these people. The boat is about 60 miles to my west in the Pacific Ocean, so this is really fresh and homemade. You know, it's just great to go to farmers market and get the things that are coming from your neck of the woods. So no matter where you live, whether you're where I'm at, where we have all this access to some amazing things, or if you're in Florida or in the Midwest or wherever you're at, there's farmers markets near you, and you'll find unique things that are special to you there too. I'm in outside of Eugene, Oregon, so I'm not that just centered up kind of in the southern heel of the Willamette Valley. So I thought I'm not really, I was thinking I was teaching you. I'm not really teaching you. I've never done this before myself. So I'm practicing along with you and sharing with you what I learned today. So this particular ceviche is got some lime juice, which is kind of typical as the acidifier. So I have a couple of limes I'm going to squeeze right into my blender. Alex was using a high-speed blender. I don't have one. I'm a home cook who hasn't made that jump to a high-speed blender yet, but I do have a blender that I really like and trust, just my old Osterizer. So I'm just squeezing in the juice of 2 limes, and like all real chefs, Alex was really working in ratios, not in precise measurements. And I think that that's a thing that we home cooks can learn from our chef colleagues, is to sort of do more of a trust your instincts and eyeball and think in terms of ratios rather than precise measurements. There's a lot of freedom in that. So I'll be doing that today too. So he added a scoop of miso, looked like a white miso. That's what I have here. That's sort of a very secret ingredient, or a very unique ingredient, I think, to ceviche. And I was thrilled by it. It added a real, an umami characteristic and a creaminess to the acidifying sauce that was really great. Oh, hi there, let's see. Oh, in Ontario, Canada, fabulous. Well, that's a little ways away. And then he added some of this sauce that's also available at our farmer's market. Ahi is the brand. It's a Uchacuta fire sauce. It's a Peruvian sauce. There's this lovely Peruvian family that creates these sauces, and this one is really spicy. It has some habanero and some other things in it, and he added what he called about an equal amount of the sauce to as miso to his sauce here. I'm going to add a touch more because it wasn't very spicy to me. I think he was making it for the crowd who may or may not have enjoyed spicy food, and we happen to like it, so I added a little bit more there myself. Salt. He added a healthy pinch of of salt. I'm going to do the same thing. Of course, he was making a larger batch than I am today, but I'm using the Diamond Crystal kosher salt, and I think that's probably an appropriate amount for that. And he added some water, and it looked like maybe about equal amount water to the lime juice and other mixture. So just an eyeballing that. And that sort of helps thin out that miso in there. I'm just going to blast this really quickly. Now that's ready and waiting for us while we work on our tuna. This is a lovely piece of albacore, as I mentioned, just really came really close from home. I would imagine they probably caught it yesterday. So I am going to work with that. And he suggests that albacore tuna is one of the fish that doesn't require freezing in order to eliminate the parasitic guys that can make people ill from eating raw or ceviche style fish. So that was going to be one of my questions going in, and he knew it would be and preempted that question and said that this is a safe tuna to eat. He also suggests that we eliminate, as we're cutting it up, any kind of stringy bits or any stuff that looks sort of like silver skin. And he sliced it. He also said that this albacore does sort of, I'll say, fall apart. You can see that it's doing that. It's a looser fish. And he said that that's okay, that we may not end up with perfect cubes or squares of fish, but that we would, that it would be wonderful. And he was right, it really was. So I'm also taking Alex's advice, and I got out my very sharp fish knife. I think a chef's knife would be equally good. But I have this, so I'm using it. I don't know if you can see this. See if you can see what I'm doing to just cut it up. But it really is just cutting it up into, I'm gonna call it maybe 3/8 inch little cubes. His may have been maybe slightly bigger than that. I don't think it really matters as long as they're all somewhat uniform. He also says that he is of Japanese heritage and his wife is Peruvian, and they spent time in Peru, where there is one of the world's largest Japanese immigration populations. So he learned about a style of ceviche making that he shared with us that is to do a really light, acidic bath. We're not going to marinate this for long in our sauce, in that he says retains a lot more of the fresh fish flavor and is just kind of creates a lighter ceviche. So that's what we're going to try here today. Here's a little bit of that silver skin. He also said, which I think is really smart because food is really expensive these days, and so I'm just kind of pulling off little bits there. I try not to waste food. I think I have been guilty of wasting food in the past, and I'm trying my best not to do that anymore. And he talked about those silver skin parts where there's some little flesh hanging to it, that what they do in the food cart is they just finely mince it. He said when it's finely minced, the texture is very similar. Hi, Ellen, hi. And glad you're here. That if you finely mince that silver skin with any of the little bits of fish, like here's just a little bit of fish I can put in that pile, that they make like spicy tuna with it and put it in a hand roll or You know, we could roll it up in a lettuce leaf or whatever if we added our own spices and things to it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure I keep that stuff and put it to good use, but maybe not appropriate for this very pure ceviche. But there's very little of that in this piece of fish here, just a little on one side, I'd say. A little bit. Kind of move that off to the side. So if you're joining us late, we're making a ceviche in the Nikkei style, is what he said. That is a very lightly dressed ceviche. These little tuna pieces look really pretty. I'm going to pull my bowl. I've had a bowl in the freezer, so I'm going to pull that out and then we'll get our fish marinated before we finish the rest. 1 second. You'll hear me. They're not seeing me. All right, here's my nicely chilled bowl, and I'm going to put all of the fish right into it, and then we'll give it a light dressing. We'll set these parts aside. We'll take our nice yellow sauce, and again, if you're joining us late, this was the juice of a couple of limes, a spoonful, just a normal tablespoonful of white miso, which is sort of the surprise ingredient, some salt, a little bit of a yellow habanero spicy sauce that I also buy at our farmer's market from a Peruvian family. If you don't have this, I think that any kind of spicy hot sauce would be perfect. I can imagine that it would be after having tasted this. So I'm going to pour a little of this on, not much. We'll save the rest to use, and then I'll just stir that in so it can begin to have its little marinade and opportunity to cook, but we aren't looking to cure this fish. That is the Nikkei style. We're having it very, very raw, very, very fresh, not highly cured like we would normally do with some of the ceviche that we have that's more kind of Latin in style. So that looks good. Everything is kind of nicely coated. The miso added a little bit of creaminess, it looks like. So, and I'm just gonna add a little more. We can, I think, actually dry it out a little bit if it cures too much. So I'm gonna just do that. And then I'm gonna set that aside. And then the rest of the ingredients just really couldn't be easier. And probably like most of you, we've got some beautiful fresh sun gold tomatoes and some, hey Garland, nice to see you. We've got some just red cherry tomatoes. All of these are going to be halved. I've already washed them. So we're just going to halve them, and I'm going to just toss them right into the ceviche bowl as I do that. We also have a sweet onion that Alex really thinly sliced into the green part. There was some of the green stem that was garnish, and so that'll go in, as well as some cilantro. So that's all it takes. And oh boy, when we got to taste it today at the farmer's market, it was tremendous. It was great. Oh, Garland, you're just coming in from the lake. Garland has a look for Garland too if you're interested in some food ideas. She is cooking in the American Northeast, where it's freezing cold, and she does all kinds of winter sports and then lives on the lake. So she knows how to have fun outdoors. So thanks for joining us, Garland. And so yeah, just a quick slicing these tomatoes in half. These are awesome. They're just at the peak of ripeness. I can smell them and kind of tell by the feel of them that they're nice and plump and juicy. Yeah, so We're so lucky here in the Pacific Northwest to have lots and lots and lots of wonderful produce kind of all year round. We have a really long growing season, even though we have a lot of rain and cold, but we do have a later start on some of the summer produce, and we're glad that it's sort of finally here. I'm missing sweet corn, and I did buy some today, not at the farmer's market, but at the market, just because everyone else is talking about sweet corn, and I'm ready for some. So I'm jumping the season here a little bit. I'm gonna make some dill butter and take that with some corn on the cob to a gathering of neighbors tomorrow. So never an end to the ideas. So I am such a huge proponent of shopping at farmers markets and farm stands, shopping and buying food that's locally produced. And I think most communities, depending on, your season may be different than mine, but most communities have farmers markets. And on my website, at the very bottom of the homepage is, I've put some links to some farmers market finders. So if you're not aware of farmers markets near you, go to the website 101milekitchen.com and look there at the bottom, and you will see some links that will help you find the closest farmers markets to your house if you don't know of them already. And I think farm stands are on there as well. So I've just chopped some nice fresh cilantro, that'll go in last. And then this white sweet onion. Sweet onions have less pyuric acid in them than the typical, so they don't really have more sugars, they just have less of that kind of more bitter, sour quality. So I'm gonna really thinly try to just shave these onions. If you don't have access to a sweet onion, then use just a yellow onion or a white onion. White onions have a real clean taste. And give it a rinse after you slice it. Give it a rinse and then pat it dry, and that'll help remove some of that pyuric acid. So I think that'll be enough. And then I'm going to make my own little green garnishes here with the stem of the white onion, the little onion, so that'll be pretty. All right, now I'm just going to mix, kind of fold those in. I hope you're able to see this. I'm not sure if you can, but so we're doing that. I'll add a little sprinkling of the cilantro. I don't want to overpower it with cilantro. I'm going to give that a little stir. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Those colors alone, of course, can't really be beat. I think we're going to serve this here this afternoon out on our deck with a bottle of rosé, a locally made rosé, because it's a warm day, and that'll be perfect with this light fish dish. That's gorgeous, so pretty. And then I'm going to just take more of this pretty sauce and just drizzle on, so that I'm sure that the tomatoes and onion have enough dressing, have enough flavor, and salt. It's important that they have that salt too. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a quick garnish. I also have there's a vendor at our market that sells microgreens. This is Eugene microgreens. Today I bought the spicy blend, which is sunflower, pea, radish, mustard, and arugula. So that should be nice and spicy. And I just love to sprinkle these on and garnish. I garnish this time of year with everything, with eggs in the morning, pizzas, salads, avocado toast, you name it. These microgreens, they're so nutrient dense, and they're so crunchy and fresh and wonderful. So there's our dish, and let's give it a taste, of course. course, that we can't let that go. Oh, a bite with some of the tuna and some of the tomato. Alex Dakers, thank you for teaching me today how to make this wonderful ceviche. I don't think that I would disappoint you with the outcome here. It tastes quite a bit like yours. And so, anyway, everyone, there's your albacore tuna ceviche in the Nikkei style from Chef Alex Dakers here, a local chef here in Eugene, Oregon. And I want to thank you for joining me today. It's always fun, and happy summer Saturday afternoon. Bye-bye.